This is fun. This is only the second time we've done this session. Hi to all of you who are out there on live stream. We're having an open forum today to talk about cooking. So who knows what will come up. We have some topics from last week, and so we'll be following up on those, and then whatever anybody brings to the table, we'll talk about.
Okay, Deborah, the stream is live, as you know, and you're the host back again.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Nancy,
you. Bye-bye.
and your co-host, bye-bye.
Thank you.
I'm drinking an agua fresca that I made in the Mexican Fiesta class yesterday. So I'm finishing off the last of it. It's very tasty. It's a combination of blended strawberry and pineapple. And I put it through a strainer to get the pulp out. And then I added ice, and I put a little splash of cucumber Perrier, which is a sparkling water, in it. It's very tasty, very refreshing.
Wow. I used to make detox water of cucumber and mint and coriander, ginger, lemon.
That sounds delicious. I would like that recipe.
It's cucumber, just grind the cucumber, sieve it, add a few drops of lemon, ginger juice, and black salt.
Black
And
salt.
it's
I have not
very-
used black salt. Interesting.
Yeah, actually black salt is healthy for salads and your juices, such kind of detox, because it used to digest easily in your body rather than white salt or sea salt. So we specifically Indians use black salt for such recipes.
I have to look for it. We see it in our specialty kitchen stores, but we have fewer of them around than we used to. So it's not as easy to find.
You can use Himalayan pink salt,
What's that?
Himalayan pink salt instead of black salt.
Okay. Yeah, I do use that. And so
Yeah,
you said it's ginger juice and
Yeah.
black salt. And what else was there?
Lemon juice, few
Lemon.
drops of lemon.
Okay. And did you say
And-
coriander in there too?
Yeah, coriander for just freshness. Just mince it up and mix with the whole thing.
Okay. All right. Well, hi, everyone. For those of you who are just joining us, Nancy, who is our TA today, is from India, and she was just talking a little bit about a beverage that they drink there that consists of ginger juice, lemon juice, a little salt, and a little coriander, I believe. And is that about it, Nancy?
Yeah, and black or pink salt.
Black or pink salt? Yeah. So because I was talking about the agua fresca that I made yesterday for my Mexican Fiesta class and how refreshing that is. And so Nancy was telling me more about a detox drink there. So thank you. Welcome. Hi, Tony. Good to see you back.
Same here. How you doing?
Doing great. Glad to have you. Hey, there's Grisha. Thanks for coming back, Grisha. Hi, Laverne. Hey, Jeannie.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Good. Oh, I'm glad some of you came back. I'm glad you came back from last week because I did a continuation. So let's hope that works out really well. Hi, Nettie. And Garnetta.
Hi, Deb.
And Carol Sue, are you there? I'm sure she's there somewhere. She'll be
Yes, I am. I was at the coffee pot.
Did you bring me some?
It's strong.
Has it been sitting on there since this morning?
Oh no, I'm just making a fresh pot now, but I make strong coffee.
Mine's usually strong because it sat on the burner too long. Okay, well, welcome back everyone. And to those of you who are new to this session for the first time, it's only the second time we've done it. So I'm learning from everybody who comes about how this can take shape. And I think that we had a good conversation last time. It was in my kitchen last time. Sometimes I'll switch back and forth because the kitchen it's kind of hard to do all the time. So I'll be here today at my desk, and we are just having an open forum to talk about cooking, whatever is on your mind. So some folks had ideas from last time. We talked a little bit about them, and I came back. What we said at the end of the session was, okay, we'll talk about those next time. So everybody bring their ideas, and then we'll just advance it from there. Whatever you want to talk about this time, we'll talk about the ideas from last time that anybody brought, and then we'll open up to new ideas, and we'll just kind of progress that way, see how that works out. So is there anybody, I don't think there's anybody here new to Get Set Up, is there? And I don't know if there's, Nettie, have you been in any of my classes before?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think you're a new face for me, so I want to
Yes.
welcome you. I'm glad you came today, and I hope you'll come to some more of my cooking classes. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. My name's Deb Livingston. I live in York, Pennsylvania, so that's where I'm coming from today on this Earth Day 2021. And I think that you all know the ropes about Get Set Up, so I'm going to dispense with that conversation in lieu of saying to you, when you are looking at classes and signing up for classes, I want to encourage you to go ahead and invite some friends to some of your classes with you. It can be fun for you and fun for them, and good for Get Set Up and for growing our community. So there are a number of ways to do that. I'll just show you that toward the end of the session. And we are on live stream today. So hello everyone out there in live stream land. We're just going to be dishing about cooking today. So join us for another session later. And I want to introduce you to Nancy, who is our TA today. Nancy's from India, where it is, I believe she said 12:30 at night. So she
My
was
goodness.
all through the night, and she's listening to us and here to help with any technical problems, issues, and also to monitor the chat. So we're glad to have you, Nancy. Last time, I was taking notes a lot about what everyone was interested in. And Carol Sue, I think, mentioned Heloise's helpful hints, something like that. Grisha, you were talking about how in the world do you keep fresh herbs fresh? So we thought about coming back with some ideas if anybody had any. Someone also talked about cooking for one. I can't remember. I don't think the person who was that? Does anybody remember who that was last time that was talking about cooking for one? Talked about a website. Well, anyway, we had somebody who was interested in cooking for one and somebody who was interested in cooking for many. That's how different our needs are. And then someone else, I believe this was also you, Carol Sue, who talked about herbs and spices used with particular dishes. Am I getting that right? For those of you who were here, is that what you remember? Did I miss anything? I tried to take notes for everything. I did see making flavored vinegars and olive oils. I put that on a separate list because I figured that could be a class sometime that we would do. So I want to know what's on your mind today. What brought you to this session? And I'm going to add it to the list. Oh, not that way. Anybody want to talk about what brought them today and what you'd like to maybe get into? Any ideas? You guys aren't normally this quiet.
This is
Carol Sue, we all need coffee. Okay, so I did have some ideas around those topics right now.
Yeah.
And last time, whoever talked about one dish cooking gave me a reference to a website called One Dish Kitchen, which I will show in a moment. But I just wonder if there's anyone in the group today that is interested in that, interested in cooking for one. Yeah, Jeannie.
is this cooking for one or making things in one pot?
No, this is cooking for one.
Yeah, I'm interested in cooking for one. Usually I make more than one serving and then have
Freeze.
leftovers or freeze.
Yeah.
But it would be nice just to make a single one person dish sometime.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too when she brought that up. Laverne, go ahead.
One dish. Now, sometimes I can make enough just for myself, and then sometimes I go overboard. I usually like to have some maybe for leftovers for the next day, but sometimes for some reason I'll make too much, and then I'll eat it like 3 and 4 days, and then I'm like, oh no, that's enough of that.
I don't need that for another 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a little bit like Jeannie. I make my food and I make enough and then I freeze it for later or I eat it in leftovers. So this whole idea of just making enough is something that's a little bit foreign to me. So I was interested in exploring this site a little bit. Go ahead, Nettie. You were going to say something?
No.
No. Anyone else want to comment on that?
Yeah, I'm interested in that. What I usually do when I see a recipe and it has like 6 servings, I just do half the recipe. I eat maybe 2 times and then I freeze it also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good strategy. Just cut that recipe in half. And for the most part, that works pretty well.
One of the things I've done recently is if I'm intrigued with making, I should say intrigued with making some. A lot of times now I've been using just a dry rub for seasoning, so you don't have a lot of sauce or something. But I'll have a pork tenderloin in the refrigerator, and then I'll just cut a piece off that's more of a single serving, and I'll use some seasoning today, and then the next day or two I'll take a different variation of seasonings and just make a serving for one.
Yeah, good idea. So you have it fresh each time instead of making the whole piece and then eating it left over. Yeah, and you can season it differently then, or use it for
yeah. I mean, you could do that anyway if you get a big enough skillet and then just put it in there. But it's I'll just throw in enough vegetables for one serving and the meat for one serving, and then do something different the next day or next couple of days.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, let's take a look at what she does. I found her story interesting. So she is a woman who as far as I can see, she's married, and so there's more than just one of her. But she, I believe, was inspired to do these single servings when her oldest son went away to college, and she found out that he was eating packaged ramen and white rice like every night of the week. So she wanted him to be able to eat more healthily. And so she wanted to send him recipes that he would be able to make that would be family favorites, but wouldn't make such a huge quantity. So what she has done is taken all of these recipes that were her family favorites and tested them at a reduced quantity. So what you can do is go on her site and check out her recipes. So aside from just glancing at this, I didn't explore it in great detail because I figured that's what we could do here in this class today. So I thought maybe I would just scroll down the side here and see if there's anything that jumps out at you on this side that you'd like to see that recipe. Or if there's a particular recipe that you'd like to kind of want to know how they make it just one, I bet I could do a search up here for that. So what do you think? Anything?
What about the pineapple upside down cake for one?
Okay.
Because as far as desserts go, if you make a cake, it lasts forever, and there's only 2 of us, and I end up giving it away, which my neighbors are happy, but I would just like to make like a little portion and be done with it.
Okay, let's see if she has that. You didn't see that.
She does. Yes, she does. It's down. Keep going. It's under her husband. Keep going right there. See it? Stop. Above there. It's.
Oh, okay. I was looking at pictures. I'm sorry. Yes, there it is. Let's take a look. So what are we doing here with this? So it looks like we're using a 10-ounce ramekin. And we're going to put all of this together, the melted butter, brown sugar, all that stuff that's on the bottom of the pineapple upside down cake, and pouring it into the bottom of the ramekin.
It's a lot of calories for one little ramekin.
Wow, it sure is, isn't it? Yeah. it's not
I was
exactly-
thinking because it was a single serving, it would be like much less.
Yeah. Well, you know what you could do here is you could do a sugar substitute here, like an erythritol stevia blend or a Lakanto monk fruit blend. So you could eliminate those sugar calories. You do have sugar in the pineapple. Maraschino cherries have a lot of sugar in, believe it or not. It's only one of them, but it just adds up. It's kind of the nature of it. If you wanted, you could probably mix your butter. You could do half a tablespoon of butter, half a tablespoon of maybe avocado oil or coconut oil. Doesn't really reduce the calories, just changes the type of fat. And then you just have your cake batter, which is essentially the same that you would always make. I guess if you were, so really all it does is takes you down to a single pineapple upside down. So you're getting a whole egg yolk in that, which isn't terrible. Boy, look at those tiny amounts of ingredients. I've never made anything so small like that. But you bring an important point out, Judith. Just because it's a lesser quantity doesn't mean that it is a lesser calorie, right? So it's not any healthier that way. And I don't know if she has anything. She doesn't talk about that so much as she doesn't talk so much about making something healthy.
Well, the advantage though is you don't have that second piece to go back for seconds.
Hey, there you go. There you go. So I think that's interesting. Now with other cakes, that's very cute, isn't it? So for other cakes, what I'll tend to do is make the cupcakes now instead of making a full cake. And then they can easily be frozen. I'm not tempted to eat the whole thing. Is there anything else on here that you would like to see? Or another recipe you want me to Google?
I would like to see the one, the easy shrimp casserole for one.
Okay, the shrimp Creole here?
Yes.
Okay. That looks yummy. Gets a good rating. How's the calories on this one? Just out of curiosity.
336. For shrimp, that's still a little bit high. I don't think she's into healthy.
It's what now?
It's
336 calories.
But you know what? For a 1,600 calorie day, if this is your meal for the evening, I think that's reasonable. I think it's hard to get in under that.
Right. So if I were to eat, if I eat something that's high in calories in one meal, then I'll lessen my calories in my other meals.
Yes.
Plus, if you look at this, it's not just the shrimp, it's also including the rice.
Exactly.
Right.
There you go.
And
Dr.
see,
Stark.
and I very seldom eat rice or starch, period.
Yeah. So you could
So if I
eliminate.
do it, yeah. So if I do it every once in a while, then I feel it's okay.
Not a worry. Yeah, I think for that complete meal like that, I don't think that it is terribly caloric. And it looks like there are diced tomatoes in this recipe and green bell peppers. And I would think that another way to amp this up a little bit could also be to put other very low calorie vegetables in here. Broccoli comes to mind, or whatever you might like. Would probably taste pretty good too, but that's a serving. Okay. Tony, did you have a question?
Yes. Now, I'm going to go overboard. What about a banana cream pie?
A banana cream pie. Well, let's see if she has a banana cream pie. Oh my gosh, you're in luck. Look at this.
Thank you.
Oh, that looks good, doesn't it? Doesn't take much time to make, 15 minutes.
Lot of calories.
But she uses whole milk. She uses whole milk, so you can take and make it with skim.
You certainly can, or you could use some kind of oat milk or almond milk.
What
That
is the
would work.
good replacement for heavy cream?
A good replacement for heavy cream, it depends on the recipe. So let's look at this recipe, because some heavy cream is needed if you're whipping something, but if it's just to add richness, you can always back off of that a little bit. So you could use a half and half or even milk. I do that quite a bit. So it looks like here we're going to heat the milk and then whisk the cream and the cornstarch, which is the thickening agent here.
Right.
So I'm just going out on a limb that you could use half and half or even milk in this, and it would thicken just as well. So I'd experiment with that, honestly, if I was trying to get the calories down, because I've certainly been able to thicken milk. It won't have that same, I mean, let's face it, cream is cream and it has a very rich taste. So you can go full fat or back it off a little bit. I would also think that something good here would be coconut milk. I think that could taste very good with this, in combination with banana for a replacement for the milk.
This doesn't even go in the oven, does it? It's all on the stovetop and in the refrigerator.
That's right. That is right. It's really basically a pudding. And then you're using, it looks like you're using these vanilla wafers just to cover the bottom and the sides. I don't think they're even crushing those from the picture. She's just laying them in there whole. You know, if I was making this, I'd probably crush these and put them in the bottom as a crumb crust and maybe even sprinkle some on the top.
Can you use plain yogurt to replace heavy cream?
The taste is going to be different because let's face it, yogurt is a tart flavor. So this banana cream is really a very mild tasting, creamy tasting pudding. If you can think about how banana pudding tastes, yogurt would have that tartness in it. So if you don't mind that, could you heat that?
Sorry about that.
I'm thinking I probably would not use yogurt in this. What does anybody else think?
I don't think it would heat well.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Grisha, any thoughts on that?
I am preoccupied because I'd hate to say it, but I have a sick puppy that's on my lap. So what was the question? I want you to know I go to this site a lot, and Joan, she's very good. Often it requires people go out and buy special dishes to accommodate, you know, and now they seem to be in a lot of the stores, but she has some very nice recipes. But ask me, Deb, what did you ask me?
Well, I'll ask you, but I wanted to say this because I meant to mention it when you got off the call the other day, and that is, I wanted to wish you luck with your sick puppy.
Oh,
Glad
she's
to
still
hear your sick puppy is on your lap, but
she's on my lap, and I'm waiting for the vet to call me again. Anyway, repeat the question. So
the question was, this was a banana pudding, and the question was, well, could you substitute yogurt for the heavy cream?
Oh, no, I would say it would not take the place because no, heavy cream is heavy cream, and yogurt definitely has, and I eat a lot of yogurt. I don't like it, but I eat by the way, Deb, I have on my table your cake, the cake from with the yogurt.
Yes, how is it?
I think it's delicious. I ate half the cake already.
She's talking about the healthy dessert class and the yogurt cake that's in there. Well, good.
If a recipe calls for sour cream, I often use yogurt, but heavy cream is, I think, you know, myself, that's what makes the dessert delicious and rich. one of the things.
Yeah, but you know what this is, to do a knockoff of this, so it's not banana cream pie, but you could, instead of making that pudding, put the vanilla wafers on the bottom and put the yogurt and the banana, mix the banana, and not follow the recipe, just make it like a parfait with
Like a yogurt
cookies.
parfait.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They do make skim evaporated milk also.
Ah, yeah, good point. So that would be another substitute in there that would be lower calorie, and it would thicken with the cornstarch, which I think is the issue. You just have to be able to get a pudding texture. Okay. So anything else that you want to see from the one dish kitchen at this point? Because we can move on. We have some other things to talk about, but I want to make sure that if you have something in mind that we take a look.
I have a question.
Yeah, Nettie.
I might be, I'm a cook by taste and no measure or anything by taste and sight.
My kind of cook.
And I'm a little baffled with cake, CAL, as opposed to calories.
Oh, kcals. Yeah. That means energy calories. So let's see if there's a good way of saying this versus me trying to muddle my way through. In the terms calories and kcal are used interchangeably and refer to the same amount of energy in relation to food or energy burned with exercise. So you don't have to convert them. 1 kilocalorie equals 1 calorie in nutrition. So it's often used, the kcals are often used in the fitness world, and now it's just become used more widely, I guess. They're the same thing. So you don't need to be baffled anymore about that. Just
Right.
calories, a calorie is a calorie. Okay, any other questions or any other things you want to take a look at? We have a couple of this one dish kitchen, couple of good references on this then for those of you who don't mind this being perhaps a little more caloric than other recipe sites, but looks like there's some good ones if you're really, really trying to just get down to a single serving of something. And I would certainly include it in a repertoire of sites that you might check for recipe inspiration and ideas for how to cut things back. You can, as we discussed with this banana pudding, you can always figure out workarounds to make it a little less caloric. There are substitutions. So who was here that asked about the seasoning with using different herbs and spices? Carol Sue, was that you or was that somebody else?
Nope, that was
you?
Yes.
Okay, so anybody think about that in the in-between? Do you have ways that you like to use certain herbs with certain meats or vegetables? I thought we could talk about that first, and then I can share a resource that I found, but you guys are all the best resources. Anybody have any thoughts about that since the last time that we met or even now? Because Carol Sue said, I'd just like to be able to know, even from different cuisines or different cultures, what kind of herbs I can use with a particular meat or vegetable that might change it up for that kind of cooking. Am I getting you right on that, Carol Sue? You want to speak more to that?
Yes.
Okay.
Or the other thing too is sometimes I know that my mother always used to take and put Bell's poultry seasoning in the meatloaf, So I guess living like dangerously, I'm saying, not to be afraid to take and try something,
So poultry seasoning in meatloaf.
Yeah, the Bell's poultry seasoning. That's what my mother used to take and put in her meatloaf.
Okay. And you said it's Bell's, Bells?
That's an oldie there. I remember that name very well.
Oh, wow. There it is.
There it
Yeah.
is.
I do not know this. Does anybody else have no familiarity with Bell's?
Yes, it's used during the holidays, and your turkey and a lot of other vegetable dishes.
Yes,
Very
and you put it
good.
in the stuffing too.
Yeah, stuff.
What,
Homemade dressing.
what's in it?
That's a good question. Let's look.
Sage, pepper.
Sage.
What else? Seasonings.
I think a
garlic.
little basil.
Debbie pulled up an ad, not the actual jar.
Yeah, I was trying to.
Sanobi.
Yeah, do you have it? So where are you?
Oh,
Tell-
there's a homemade Bell's homemade seasoning recipe. So the third line down, second from the left, it looks like somebody's made a copycat. Down one more.
Oh, there you go. Great eye on that.
Oh, there we go.
Excellent. There we go. So it's a quarter teaspoon of thyme, 3/4 teaspoon of sage, a 1/4 tea of marjoram, a 1/4 tea of rosemary, and a 1/4 tea of black pepper.
There you go.
Awesome. That's great. We know.
Yeah.
That looks like a great blend also for some soups. I'm not entirely sure about the sage, but the other ingredients are all.
You could put it in breading for pork chops too.
Oh yeah.
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 It's very hard to find nowadays.
I have never seen that.
I know it's very hard.
So what are some other herbs that you might use with things that you're making? I'm interested in what you were saying earlier, Jeannie. You said you use a lot of rubs. Can you talk about that a little?
Yeah, I actually get a lot of my spices from Penzies, which is a spice store. And they have a variety of different spice blends, like the Bells. It's like poultry, it's not that it's poultry season, but they have like a lot of Arizona seasonings, more your Southwest flavors. It's they've got some other ones are like different kinds of barbecue mixes, and it's just an easy way. So if I want to cook something really quick, you just sprinkle it on the meat and then rub it in with your hands and then saute it, and it's really just a quick meal without following any recipes. There you go. More Euro flavors, one of them. But Penzies does a great job with their spices.
They have, and all of them are fresh, real fresh.
They're very good and very
I
fresh.
love them. Yep.
So here's their website, and it looks like you can sign up for an email list. They have bundles. It looks like free shipping on orders of 40 or more. And probably, here's trial bags. So if you want to try some things just for a couple of bucks, you can try.
Honestly, you could probably get a smaller jar, not much more than the trial bag.
Okay, so it's probably better just to buy it. But
but you know what? If you order, sometimes I'll throw some in if you have it shipped to you.
I like this. They have a lot of good inspiration for salt-free seasonings. So you could give a try to some of those.
Also, if you sign up for their email taken in list, every so often they take it in and give you like a free coupon code so that when you order, you get free stuff.
Yeah, or some very good discounts too. Yeah.
So do they also send you in those emails some recipe suggestions?
Yes.
I think there's recipes on the website, Deb.
Yeah, sometimes they're in the, I've seen them in the emails too, but they do have a lot of recipes you can look up too.
And earlier this year, those little packs were $1 a piece.
Oh, I missed that one.
Wow.
Yeah, that was great. I got some and gave them out for Christmas gifts too.
Nice idea. So how many of you don't use Penzies? I have to become a Penzie convert. Apparently, I'm familiar, and I just never got started with them. But this is drawing me in. I have to say, that's nice.
We had a beautiful Penzie store real close to my place, and it was lovely. And they went out of business as a result of COVID.
Oh. See, mine is still doing. You can order and pick it up. But one of the things I miss, because if you go in the store, if you have, before pandemic, They have all the spices on display and they have them in apothecary jars. So you can take off the lid and smell them. So
Right.
get an idea. So it was good.
Yeah.
But there's other places that do sell spices. I know I've been to a few other stores that are probably just as good and fresh as Penzeys. So, but they do shipping promotions too. So, and I go to them because they have a good reputation, and the store isn't that close, but it's close enough when I want to stock up.
And you bring up a good point that if it's fresh, there are a lot of other options. And for me, there's a farmer's market in town with lots of local, they're little local growers, and some of them are in that business. And so they make their own, they grow and then make these herb blends and tea blends and things. And so it's kind of nice to support local when I can find it. And that's an area you might find that you have some local growers too.
Another place to get to try spices, if you have a bulk food store near you, you don't have to buy a jar. You can just buy a little tiny bit and try different things that way. And I've never seen a blend at the bulk store near me, but they have all kinds of spices.
Yeah, especially if you want something, something that you're not gonna use on a regular basis, like fennel or something. Because I've gone to the buck store out there in Dearborn and picked up a few things, and the cinnamon sticks, to me, they're cheaper than buying them at the stores.
They are, but the one thing that I don't think they're as fresh as someplace like a true spice store, because they're not in a sealed jar. They're in those plastic containers and you scoop them out. So they've got to air them. But they've always been fresh enough, especially if you just need a little bit.
Yeah, because I would smell it, and if it didn't have a strong odor, then I would just pass.
Yeah. I know my bulk store, it's a health food store, and it's a cold room. Is yours, Jeannie?
No, it's not they don't have a cold room.
So I always feel that helps a lot to keep.
It probably does. Yeah. This one's just lines of plastic containers that you just scoop out. Mm-hmm. And then they've got some specialty stuff that is that's already prepackaged on top of the shelves above the plastic containers. Mm-hmm. And I know like Whole Foods has bulk, but I never look at their bulk stuff to see if they have spices or anything in there. Yeah. I think it's mostly grains.
That's what I notice in mine, but my Whole Food is pretty tiny. So it has mostly grains, some beans, and just a sampling.
I've got one that's bigger and one that's smaller that's about equidistance, and neither one is convenient. So I don't go there very often. And the other day I tried to go and the line was too long.
Yeah. Ironically, in my town, that's the one store that's been less long. When during the worst of the pandemic, I could go over there and feel like I was in a sane environment I felt like it was a real find. So I have this that I'm going to pass along just as a check on how you might be able to combine some things, some other interesting tips here, but reference guide for common spices for common dishes that you could try. So things for chicken, things for fish and pork. And so when you're looking at that, does anything jump out as something you really like to use, or conversely really don't like, or something that just strikes you as being, wow, that's different?
I use Herbe de Provence all the time because I like blends. You don't have to pick and choose. It's all there for you.
Yeah.
Now, is this on the website?
I'm sorry, I spoke over you. I'm sorry, Garnetto. Say that again.
No, I was asking, is this a certain website that you got this from?
Yeah, this is actually The Kitchen. It's a website called The Kitchen, and I'll send you these links.
Okay, thank you.
They'll be in the email after the class. Everything I show you, I'll put in email today. The Penske, I'll have to remember to put that in. I don't have that on my list here, but who uses, anybody use harissa?
Yes.
I was going to ask what that was, because I started to see that in recipes now, but I've never heard of it before.
Yeah, so
actually Arisa. The H is silent.
Arisa, okay.
Arisa, and it's like a spicy kind of peppery almost.
Is this how you buy it?
Yes.
Okay.
Paste. Oh, sorry.
Okay. And how do you use it, Judith? What dishes?
I use it in Moroccan cuisine, like with chicken, with sausage, with merguez sausage. Arisa is really good. It's like for like North African kind of cuisine.
On the one that I have, it says something about Tsunjan hot sauce, smoky red pepper. This one is a wild garden harasi.
Okay. And how do you?
Yeah, I used it in a recipe. I think it was with some chicken.
Okay. Arisa, chicken.
Yeah.
Judith, tell me about so you seem to have a broad culinary background. Do you teach, do you talk about, or do you make a lot of Moroccan dishes, or tell us a little bit about you.
Actually, I am from a restaurant family. So I ate out at least 3 meals a day, every day of my life. I never cooked. I didn't even make coffee. And then I had some health issues very recently that I had to watch what I ate. Not so much what I ate, but I had to know how it was prepared and how it wasn't prepared. So I said, you know what? And I have a lot of chef friends and they all wanted to send me food, but I'm like, what if it fell on the floor? I don't want to, I don't know what happened to it. I need to be in charge of my own food. And I started to cook, and I have probably 12 giant loose leaves, all with sections of recipes that I compiled of stuff that looked healthy and interesting. And now all I do is cook my brains out. And on every recipe, of course, I write in French, but on every recipe, I jot down notes like, it'll say cook for 25 minutes, and I cook for 25 minutes and it's too well done. So I write cook only 20 minutes. And then I go back, and some recipes I never make again, and some become like part of my rotation.
Nice. So Judith, do you have some favorite recipes that you might enjoy sharing with this group at some point, like coming on and kind of co-working with me to work through a couple of recipes, maybe some
Sure. It all depends, what people are interested in.
Mm-hmm.
I give friends of mine, they'll say, oh, I'm trying to lose weight. What do I eat? So I'll send them like a healthy chicken or a healthy pork tenderloin. It just depends what people like. But literally, I spent years compiling my recipes and trying them out. And I think it's so much fun.
What do you think? You'd like to hear more about what Judith's recipes are about? Might find some there that can be really interesting. And I think there's others of you. Jeannie, you're quite a cook. I've heard that theme coming through as we've been talking.
I go through phases. Yeah, I try to, I'm self-taught. My grandmother was an awesome cook, did everything by, a good cook doesn't measure anything. My mother did not take after her. And I learned by cooking in a cookbook from cookbooks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And now you feel more confident to be able to do.
Yeah, I was off work for medical leave several years ago, and during the recovery period, I got hooked on like the Food Network and just watching recipes. So I try to do things very simply and easy. Just so I don't make a lot of things that are a ton of ingredients or a ton of a ton of effort.
We must be separated at birth.
Yeah.
My grandmother also was an amazing cook. She made amazing things, never had a recipe. Now, may she rest in peace, we try and recreate it. We can't do it.
Exactly. And I know I tried to learn from her when I was growing up, and, you know, she never had a recipe. So if you don't, you know, and it's just, it was very hard to learn from her. I've never mastered her potato salad, and I loved her potato salad. And the other thing, who was the gentleman that brought up the banana cream pie? The banana cream pie was one of my favorite things that my grandmother made. And I went skiing up in northern Michigan, and it's the place I would go was a cafeteria that had a bunch of older ladies that worked there. And they had banana cream pie, and it reminded me of my grandmother's. And I went to the side door, and I told the other lady who came up there to pass it on to whoever made it. So she called her over. The lady gave me a great big hug because I told her it reminded me so much of my grandmother's banana cream pie.
But did she give you the recipe?
No, of course not.
Oh, I love these stories. They bring back such memories too, because my grandmother also was a really good cook, and we have pictures of when we were little children, and she used to bake angel food cakes for birthdays. And she made angel food cakes that were literally 15 inches high. They were beautiful. And the little children were behind the angel food cake, looking very tiny behind this immense cake. And when in her older age, I tried to learn from her, I had her over to teach me some of these recipes. I had my pen and my paper, and I was watching her, and she was making this angel food cake. And I'd say, stop, Grandma, I have to write this down. Now, what are you doing now? Now, how much are you putting in there? Oh, you just put a handful. You just till it looks like, you know, and I could not document what she was, I couldn't document it to recreate it. So I'm afraid that her 1.5 foot high angel food cakes are a thing of the past anyway. So I relate to those stories. That's pretty neat. Anybody else have stories like that? I like where this is going. It's nice to hear memories. Were you born with the cooking gene? Did you acquire it later? Are you still trying to develop it?
My mom was a baker. She loved to bake. And when she made her banana cream pies and lemon pies and stuff, they were all from the cornstarch box recipe. It was a basic recipe for cream pies. Mm-hmm. And everybody loved, and she did the pie crust, you know, nowadays it's like, just buy it in the produce. I mean, not the produce, but in the dairy and roll it out, but she didn't have any problem making a pie crust, and I never could make a pie crust. It drives me crazy.
Yeah, they're pretty. I've always been on the search for those pie crusts too that are foolproof.
Yeah.
Do you have a Cuisinart machine? Or a food processor? Oh, because I was going to say, not that you need one, but they're very easy. You throw everything in, and they're very easy to make, and they come out great.
What, the pie crust?
From a food processor.
Do you use lard, or do you use Crisco, or what?
Oh, I've never used lard or Crisco, but I understand that they make the best crust. But I'm very careful what I eat.
What do you do? Do you do butter?
Yes.
Okay.
Cold. It has to be cold.
Yeah, for sure.
And it whips up very, very quickly.
I'll have to try that.
Yeah. Go on, just Google pie crust made in a food processor, and you'll see a lot will come up. Very easy to do.
There's also a tip for making a pie dough that'll roll out nicely, and if you use vodka in the recipe.
Oh, really?
Chilled vodka.
Huh.
Yeah, it's a fine cooking recipe, I believe.
I've seen it with oil too, made with oil.
That's my favorite. That's what I do,
like-
but I don't roll it out. And I don't do it necessarily. It's harder to do if you're going to roll out a top crust. So I use it all the time for quiches and single crust pies. I love
What do you use, canola oil or what kind of oil?
it. I use avocado oil because it's
Ah.
a healthy oil and it doesn't really have
Yes.
the taste.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's avocado oil and a tablespoon or two of milk whisked in with that. And that's your liquid then to stir into your dry ingredients, which is really just flour and salt.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but I think I haven't made a crust in a long time, but you should also use, the liquid should be cold. The
Mm,
butter should be cold and the liquid.
yeah. Yep. I guess that's why you use cold vodka.
Yeah, right, right.
Or maybe the vodka makes it easier to take when your crust isn't working out quite so well.
What brand vodka?
You pour a little in the pie dough and a little in the glass, and everything's fine.
Julia Child.
Julia Child. Yes, and you know, I don't know if you were here last time. Were you here last time when Grisha was telling us about her experience? She's going to come back sometime. She's going to have to come back and talk to us more about Julia Child. I want to devote some time to that.
I don't think I heard that.
It was a wonderful experience, that's for sure.
So Grisha,
But
that does
cooked it.
bring me to, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, if you saw the way I cook now, I really went above and beyond. I mean, that was in the 70s and 80s and 90s, but now I'm primarily plant-based and it's done me good because my cholesterol's come down. You know, everything has come down, but I spent a week in Provence with Simone Beck and Julia Child, and they wrote The Art of French Cooking. And
Nice.
Provence, and we went in September, so it was wine times, you know, grape
Mhm.
harvest. And you would be, the only thing I'll add is Julia's kitchen was as simple as you would ever, and unglamorous. And her husband was there at the time, so we did have a wonderful time.
Grisha, was that on a tour or were you just there
Well, Deb, I owned I'm not going to compare it to Williams Sonoma, but a shop like that for years in upstate New York. And it was everything for the preparation of food. And so when people see my kitchen now, I've got it, you know, everything, but I don't cook that way anymore. I'm very plant-based, and I lost my husband. I mean, the whole picture is different, but I do have the wonderful memories and I loved having the business.
Yes, I can imagine that was just extraordinary time. Yeah. Okay. So where are we? Wow, we went off on, that was a great riff. That was a good conversation about all sorts of things, memories and herbs and pie crust dough. And we're at this place of cooking for a crowd. Who said that last time? I don't think, was it anybody here? I think some of you made suggestions for cooking. Does anybody have to cook for a crowd or looking for those ideas?
No cooking for a crowd for me.
Okay. You know, we're going to skip over that if that's not so important. We can talk about storing fresh herbs. So this was one that Grisha brought up last time because she said, try as she might, she can't keep, what was it, basil?
Well, I just can't, cilantro last week. I know it's easy. Everybody says, oh, I keep it for weeks. I cut the stems in the bottom. I put it in water, put it in the refrigerator. I put a plastic. I don't know what the problem is.
So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a good 8 people here to bring to bear on Grisha's problem with herbs. What do we say about that? Anybody have ideas? What has worked for you? Are you all stumped?
I don't buy fresh herbs because I don't use them that much and they go bad. So I just use the dried herbs myself.
Mm-hmm.
I just throw them out and go back to the store.
Find it where you can buy them as inexpensively as possible and just dispose when they go bad, right?
Right.
Well, they do seem to just be hard to keep for a very long time, and different ones differently. I know I bought a pack of basil in one of those clamshell things the other week, and it looked fine, but I had no idea of how old it was or how, anything like that. And I used it one time and I went to open it up the next time and the leaves were getting black. So there was moisture in there, I guess. That
Yeah,
was making,
exactly.
if you just have, one thing that I did read, Grisha, is that sometimes if there is just one bad leaf, it's like one bad apple, spoils the
Yes.
whole. So
Yes.
same thing there. So they recommend going through and washing them and drying them really well and then putting them in the water, making sure you take out anything that looks the least bit decayed. So that's
Right.
a little bit out on the end of the bell curve as far as things that you can
No.
try.
Thank you.
But let's see whether I can find, at least look at this article. This I'll pass along. Never waste a bunch again. So this is going out on a limb as far as I am concerned. They know something we don't know. So I think it's interesting that what they do is talk about the difference between the soft herbs and the hard herbs. And then they give you the list of soft herbs. Of course, basil and cilantro are in there, and the hard herbs are rosemary, thyme. They're much easier, I think, to keep for a much longer period of time. And here's the way to wash the herbs, which we should do in any case. So not to run them under the tap though, because it does bruise them, damage them. It can break things off and really cause that accelerated deterioration. So you should just gently put them in some water in a pan or a bowl and swish them around. And then dry them. So this step's important since storing wet dripping herbs in your refrigerator is not a way to keep them fresh. Sometimes I think about how they are at the grocery store. Some of those grocery stores do like rainforest watering on their produce sometimes, and it's so dripping wet that they do, I think, accelerate that process. So you should not use a salad spinner, but you could use more like paper towels or a kitchen towel and just pat them dry that way. I think that you don't have to have them 100% dry, but you can have them not dripping wet. And then it says for soft herbs, store them standing up in jars of water in the fridge. And that is exactly what Grisha said that she does. The jars should be halfway with water. And then a plastic produce bag and cover the whole top of the jar so that the herbs are completely enclosed. And then it says secure the bag with a rubber band. That's something I haven't done.
No, right.
So maybe there is something to sealing that off a little bit. It's worth a try. Because that makes sense. There's no air circulating in underneath the bag there. And then for hard herbs, it's easier. So you can put them into the bag then. You can just wrap them up, rolled up in the paper towel, and put it in the bag and not really seal it up. And they should keep for a few weeks. I do find that do you find that too, that your hard stemmed herbs keep a lot longer? Yeah. Yes. So here's a little more on the seal or keep open. The air in the refrigerator is quite dry, which is why we have a crisper, because it's more humid in there. So some air circulation is good, but it's hard to achieve it without them drying out. That's why it's important to cover them. So that's a good thing to know, I think, that we should consider the fact that we've got a lot of dry air in our refrigerator, and that might be part of the problem. So that is a little bit more on storing fresh herbs. Maybe we learned something there to try. I don't know. What do you think?
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So what do you think's next? What else would you like to see on the next agenda? What did we talk about that would be helpful? I'm going to escape out of this so I can actually add to our list.
A recipe for a fruit cake.
Recipe for fruit cake?
A recipe for fruit cake, yes.
Okay. So hear that, everyone. If you have a favorite fruit cake recipe, Tony would love to have it. I bet you wouldn't mind if you had 10 fruit cake recipes.
No,
What else? You thinking?
So I got to the class late. I know we were going to talk about breakfast dishes. Did you have time to talk about them? If not, I'd like to.
Well, I actually was saying that because you wanted things for a crowd, didn't you? Inexpensive.
No, I didn't. But I wanted to hear about the breakfast recipes.
Okay. So these were breakfast recipes, but they were for a group because I thought that's what we were talking. Somebody brought that up last week. So I'll send these recipes along.
Okay.
But here's a French toast casserole recipe. That's one. And then there is this this hash recipe, I think looks awesome. These are all things you can make ahead of time. So I think somebody was here that had a big family that was talking about this.
I think it was me this is Michelle. I think it was me that asked about breakfast for a crowd because I struggle with that.
Okay. So these were all intended for a crowd. You can just scale them back, of course.
Yeah.
This is a nice one. And then I really enjoy these. Have you seen these online at all in videos? This idea of making sliders in a pan.
Actually, that is something that I did try, and it worked out well.
Works out well. So this one is that. It's egg and ham and cheese, and they're very good. So there's a video there that goes very quickly through how to do that. So that's an idea. So there you have those sandwiches. You have a French toast, and you have that hash as 3 ideas for breakfasts.
Okay.
So other ideas for next time before we go?
What about some ethnic cooking?
Okay, so and I should tell you that we are also working on Fridays where we are going to start highlighting global kinds of cuisines, national and global, international type things. So do you have any particular ethnic foods? I would like to explore things in the country too, like Southern cooking or Creole cooking or what else?
Those are all good ideas.
Okay.
What about making your own vanilla? Has anybody done that?
Wow, that's a great idea. We can maybe
with vanilla pod.
Okay.
I know my daughter did it and gave it and put them in beautiful bottles for Christmas gifts. So she said it's very, very easy, although I've never done it. And I know it's very expensive because I use a lot of it to get the real vanilla extract, or the vanilla bean, I guess is the way you do it.
Grisha, if you come to the next session, would you want to share that with us? Would your daughter share that idea, and would you share that with us?
I'd be happy to. Now it's been a few years, but I'm happy to ask her.
Okay.
I made a beautiful presentation in the kind of bottle that she put it in.
Okay, that would be great. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. The pretty bottles are nice, and then you leave a pot in there.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
And vanilla is so expensive right now, vanilla extract.
I know. That it is. And make sure it's the pure when you buy it, because you can sometimes if you don't read the fine print.
You don't know what you're getting.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this has been great. You have a lot of great ideas, and please bring more. When you when you show up, come with things you want to know more about. We'll just keep adding them to the list and we'll grow organically this way. And I hope to see you all next time. And in the meantime, Tony, you get to work on that banana cream and we'll hear your report on that next time.
You got it.
Okay.
Thanks, Deb.
Thank you, Deb.
Welcome. We'll see you next
Thanks.
time.
Right.
Good
I
night,
did.
Deb.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye, Tony.
Goodbye.
Happy cooking.
Thank you. You too, my love.
Thank you.